All right. Welcome into the half, everybody. My name is Aaron Montgomery, and this extremely awesome gentleman next to me right here is Mr. Erich Campbell. Eric, thank you so much for pushing the buttons here today and all that you did to make Two Regular Guys awesome just a moment ago. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm going to be honest with you folks because I like to be honest, especially on the half. We get ourselves in here and kind of discuss stuff. And I'll say I'm a little tired, a little worn out. This has been a very busy week. You guys know
I'm
how it
a
is.
smidge tired myself.
Yeah, I know you are off and doing the big Start Here Academy thing. So tell us more about how you're doing, man. I mean,
Yeah,
luckily the
definitely.
hotel
So
internet's good, but
yeah, I'm in a hotel room, and so far so good. I just making a couple quick adjustments here because my hamstrings just started cramping up. I had 30,000 steps yesterday.
wow, man,
See,
good stuff.
I'm a pacer when I'm
Mm,
speaking and doing that stuff,
yep.
and then being the MC, kind of the uh, herder of cats, so to speak. um, I was back and forth. So anyhow, yeah, I had 30,000 steps yesterday, and then this morning I've been back and forth to the show, and it's not that far away, but it's enough, right? And so
Yeah, it's
I
enough.
think, let's see here, I'm at Yep, I'm at 16,000 steps so far today. So,
Wow, wow.
uh,
Pretty much all the time. Yeah, it is it is the way that things are. It's why we always talk about shoes. Everybody's like, "Why every time do I see when there's an article or somebody has a discussion about trade shows, they talk about shoes?" Because you absolutely need to make sure your shoes, like people go, "I want to look good," and they buy brand new shoes and they roll those out on the trade show floor and they suffer
oh,
all the time. And I'm going to say this too, for someone who isn't as much into counting steps, when I do check it out, um, always I walk miles. My wife is a distance runner. She runs decent distances pretty much every day.
look
And
at her.
on the days that I'm on the trade show floor, I cover more distance than she does.
I like
Cover
it.
more miles than she does by the time we're
Yeah,
doing trade shows.
yeah.
So that's
Uh,
absolutely the case. I have to agree with that one.
I love it. Yeah. So, yeah, I can talk more about that, but let's talk
Yeah,
to the folks in here, and if
people in.
anybody's got
So
questions about Start Here Academy, we can talk about that. Chuck, thank you. Good
good
afternoon.
afternoon, Chuck. Mark is in from Florence, Arizona. Good
Excellent.
morning, Mark.
Yeah. Good.
Yosta is in from Sweden again. Glad to see Yosta in. Thank you for being here. We got Mo in as well. Good morning, Mo.
Hey, Mo.
Jeff
Good to see
Fuller
you.
from Fuller Embroidery Works is here from Embroidery Nerd. They're here as well. So, hello. Happy to have you in.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I'm guessing probably no
yeah,
Adam this time because it's back
guessing
in school.
back in school time. And we have Barb coming in saying hello and hi to everybody. Hello, Barb. And we have Frank coming in from the UK saying good afternoon. And we have Ramona in with our first question. She says, "Good morning. So I missed the dad joke on 2RG. Was it a true groaner?" Um, it, though a lot of you were coming here directly from 2RG, I'm going to go ahead and repeat Terry's dad
I was
joke.
gonna say I was gonna go look for it, but
Because why not? Let's repeat Terry's dad joke. I can do it from memory because it
all right.
was enough, right? So here's Terry's dad joke for the day, and I'll go ahead and give it to all you guys from the half. Uh, his joke was, "Did you know that a T-shirt actually stands for a Tyrannosaurus shirt?"
I did
And
not know that.
well, it's yeah, it's because of the short arms. That's Terry's dad joke. Yes, it's a groaner. Yes, it's painful. I
True
actually like
groaner.
that one.
Yeah,
True
true
groaner.
groaner.
So yes,
Yeah,
was it a true groaner? Yes, indeed, it was a true groaner. But at least it was shirt based, so some of us like
yeah.
that stuff.
Now I did also share my cartoon from last night's Start Here Academy
Yeah,
as
yeah,
another groaner. I was going to see this. This may be, but we'll see. I may try to pull it up here
yeah. Mo
and
says,
share it. So
"Oh,
we'll see.
that's bad." Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes, it is. That was a bad one.
agreed, Mo.
Agreed. Agreed. And Jeff says,
Agreed.
"Nope, school started up. I wish he didn't have to go. We got a lot done. We didn't have school." Yeah, right. Sometimes it feels like the things we do are getting in the way. I know I've had that time before too, where you're like, "Wow, I have to work on the business for a minute," and you want to get back in the business, or otherwise. Something we talked about today, where people have trouble kind of dealing with their time. I can't tell you how many times business has gotten in the way of business. Just different parts of the business. Same thing with
Yeah.
personal stuff and the other way around. You're like, man, living's getting in the way of living.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
All right, let me see if I can pop this up here real
Yeah, let's
quick.
try.
So, hey, it actually came up. So
It worked.
let's
I'll
see.
add it to the stream for you.
Thank you.
Nope.
Thank you. Okay. So here it is. Everybody ready? Hold on. It's terrible.
Aaron's
Okay.
cartoon based dad joke. Ah,
Avocado affirmation. looking in the mirror saying, you're fat, but you're good fat.
Uh, True
All right.
groaner.
Sorry to do that to you, folks.
No, we'll take that off because that's enough. That's enough. Enough groaners for one day, people.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's move on from that. Let's see here. A couple of comments. Mark asked, does anybody have the Final Jeopardy music?
No,
You
I
saw
mean
that one.
we should have that. We should have like if you guys are video game people from the old school, we should have that kind of like Sonic end of the round time running out fast theme going at the end of the show, but we don't do that. No, we have to watch for ourselves and decide when to cut it off.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. But
I'm in.
I don't, and we probably couldn't use it on here anyhow without Facebook kicking us off. So
Oh, this is true. I'm going to say that if you guys don't know, be careful what music you use on your shows because you can get copyright stricken for all
yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Heck, even when it's not copyrighted music that you have rights to, you can get that stuff. I've had to fight those battles. That's not fun.
Oh yeah,
But
even with rights, yeah, believe me, it's rough. There are many a time when I thought about grabbing the dulcimer off of my back wall and playing my own music for the startup because it'd be hard pressed for somebody to copyright strike it if I did it first.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
had
it's
some music actually made
trouble.
for me and had it. Yeah. So anyhow.
Yep,
That's
these
awesome.
things happen. The life of content creators that you guys don't care about, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still.
Exactly.
Still.
All right, Marissa. Happy Friday.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm up the
No
list
worries.
here still. I'm catching up.
You're
There.
fine. You're fine. All right. Happy Friday, Marissa.
No, my bad. All right. We've got Cindy checking in. Good morning,
Yes, indeed
Cindy.
we do.
I'll stop clicking, Eric. Sorry.
No, we're good. Good morning. Happy Friday. And okay. Now I'm going to say this too. Cindy, and this is the thing, she said, I'm feeling like a failure as a machine operator. Ramona's trying to pick me up and encourage me. Let me just say this. We have all failed, sometimes spectacularly, at our jobs. We have all had problems with things that we're doing or things that we're running. And let me tell you this, I've got a lot of early files from my time in digitizing that were called final, and then final number 3, final 5. And at the very end, the file was called probably a spicy word that I'm not going to repeat before the title of the actual final thing.
Yeah.
So everybody has had that time. Everybody has had that, but everyone who picks up and gets going and starts again is having another chance. And you're not a failure if you don't stop.
Yep.
The only kind of failure there is not trying again or not shifting weight, doing what you need to do. So by all means, we've all done it, and I understand. It's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Eric, I've got another acronym. I know maybe people get tired of my acronyms, but everybody's heard me say FEAR is just an acronym. It's just fantasized experience appearing real. In fact, I've got that shirt somewhere around here. There's another acronym though.
Okay.
FAIL.
Yeah.
First attempt in learning.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I say. There's you win or you learn. That's what Yosta said, and that's absolutely the case.
Yeah.
But I do understand it is super hard because there are times where it's just like, when you're failing at somebody else's designs, you feel responsible. But the thing to understand is if you look at over an entire lifetime of what you've done and all things you achieved, the one failure doesn't even stack. The funny thing is we are evolved this way. We're evolved to see negatives as stronger than positives because positives aren't going to hurt us. They're just, icing on the cake. Potentially negative things. If I reach my hand into a pit full of snakes and I get bit, I need to make sure I don't do that again as a human creature, as an animal who's out there trying to live in the world. I have to make sure I don't do that dangerous thing again. So that negative response is being really heavily driven into your brain. You can't help the fact that the negatives hit harder. What we can do is know with that kind of big frontal lobe we've got here, we can understand that serpent brain, that, the animal brain in the back of our heads that is trying to keep us from being in danger doesn't really know what's going on and doesn't understand the scope of things. It feels like there's a tiger chasing you all the time and it's not there. So we just got to remember it's paper tigers, folks. They aren't real.
Yeah. You got to, and honestly, we've got to just, whatever, we need to find techniques for ourselves where we can turn off, right? That, like you said, tiger chasing us, all that kind of stuff. We've got to turn off the fight or flight. It's useful when we need it, but as modern day humans, most of us operate in that fight or flight mode all day long.
Still
right?
do.
The anxieties, the worries, the blah, blah, blah. And we can't think straight in that mode. We can't make intuitive decisions about our future in that mode. We can't grow. We can't learn, right?
Yeah.
None of those things are possible when we're in that mode. So we have to do whatever we've got to do. I mean, that's why things like meditation and tapping and all of these different techniques and things are becoming more and more popular because we need to figure out something that we can do, right? And it could be, heck, I don't know what they call them, but the places where you can go and like just take a sledgehammer to like fax machines and stuff like
Oh
that,
yeah. I can't
construction
remember.
room or
Yeah, there's a couple different ways I've heard them called, but yeah,
yeah,
I don't know I can't remember the
those
term
are
off the top of my head.
proliferating
Oh
more.
yeah, for sure.
Like axe throwing, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Hey, axe
so,
throwing is a legitimate skill. No, I
yeah. Well,
speaking as someone
it's
who's
not just
been
fun
to
to
many
take a
of
big
Viking
heavy axe and
games,
throw it at something.
true. No, yeah,
Uh,
I think that's the case. The thing is, sometimes what we're dealing with are these impulses that are from, we've got hunter-gatherer impulses and we're not living that life anymore. And so there are times when we're fighting our own impulses. And I think that it feels that way. It feels negative, and it's real.
yeah,
Messing up hurts. I know. I'm somebody who hates messing up. I
yeah,
hate failure. Sometimes when I'm telling you guys that, it's because I'm also telling myself, "Hey, Eric, it's okay that things aren't perfect every time." It's not something you're going to get over in a meantime. The other thing too is the incessant positivity. Positivity is great. When someone tells you positivity as if that means you're not going to have your initial negative feeling, that's where I don't agree with that.
yeah,
Because here's the thing: positivity is great in action. You're going to feel what you're going to feel. You're going to have a moment. It's good to stop and calm down and think about what things really mean, but you're going to feel bad when things go wrong.
yeah,
That's very
yeah,
likely going to happen. You're going to feel bad.
yeah,
You're going to have a moment of that. The thing is, that's normal. It's part of the process. You go through it. Kind of like people talk about the grieving process. I'm not saying we're going to go through the 7 steps of grieving every time we mess up a shirt. Hopefully, you're not doing that every time,
yeah.
or at least you're getting to an advanced
Well,
state where the 7 steps are
yeah, I was
fast.
gonna say,
But yeah,
not that you're not doing it. It's just at
it's
what
just
level,
quick.
right? No, but
Yeah,
that's
true.
reality of
It's
it. I
true.
mean, it's just quick.
True.
I don't know, Eric, if I've ever shared with you. I'm sure I have,
Right.
so I can make you do earmuffs. But
Yeah, it's all good.
when I talk about my art of success, right, one of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
most important functions in that flywheel scenario is to experience the result, right?
Yeah.
And like I
Yeah.
said, even if it's negative, right? We can't just go to everything's positive, happy, joy all the time. We have to experience the result because without that experience, you can't analytically correctly um, figure out what the feedback is.
Yeah.
Right? So
It's true.
again, I talked about this on Two Rare Guys. Every time you take an action,
Mhm.
you get a result, and that
Absolutely.
result leads to some sort of feedback, right? What if it was a negative result? The feedback is you need to improve something, you need to
Sure, sure.
be aware of something, right? Don't stick your hand in the pit of snakes again. But if the result was positive, okay, then you still have to experience that, you have to accept it, you have to be grateful for it, and then
Mhm.
go, okay, how can I amplify that, right? So
Sure, sure.
um yeah, I think it's a really good point that you guys are making for sure.
Well, that's the funny thing. We think that doing a great job and being on time is our baseline. And yes, it is in business that doing a good job and showing up on time and
Yeah,
just doing what you should is the baseline. But the fact that that is our baseline should let us know how infrequently we actually mess up.
yeah,
How infrequently we actually have an irretrievable failure. That's the thing to
yeah,
remember. That most failures are retrievable. We can do something to fix
yeah,
things. We, of course, there are times that you can't. We've all been in business long enough to have a failure that
sure,
breaks something completely.
yeah,
But still, it's just one of those things we have to know is that this is a
yeah,
long process and be in that long game. But go ahead and feel your feelings and then
yeah,
progress knowing
and
and here's the thing I've always said to people, they're like, oh, well, how do you keep going on in the middle of something like that? I'm like, well, the other option is to not.
yeah,
So your
well,
decision is where do you think you're going to be after this? The other option is to not go on. So we go on, and that's
yeah,
how you want to
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah,
Where do you want
because
to be?
because like the word that you just used there, right, irretrievable,
Yeah,
that's still also a relative term. Right?
totally, it is.
I mean, Terry says this all the time. I think it's hilarious, but it's because it's true, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a t-shirt, nobody dies,
yeah.
right?
We don't even
And
make
I
the
get
shirt;
it,
we just
right?
make it pretty.
We have to be serious, we have to take what we do serious. It's a
Yeah,
passion, it's a pride
yeah,
point, and all this other stuff.
for
But
sure.
at what level, right? And because,
Yeah,
like you said, you've got a choice. You can either, accept it and move forward, or you can continue to wallow, right?
yeah. No, I mean there are times
And
that you're going to
then
set you
never move
back. You're
forward.
going to do the work 3 or 4 times. You're going to have to
Yeah,
repeat things. You're going to
yeah,
have to start over. But like I said, the other option is to not, and then you know exactly where you'll be if you don't.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's the thing. But you know what,
Yeah.
Cindy, don't feel bad. We're
Yeah.
doing it, and
All
I
that to
know
say, Cindy, don't feel bad.
we've all felt like that, and we're all
Yeah.
in the same boat with you. I think that's the big thing. Yost has another good point. You know, we are our biggest critics. When
Yeah.
customers love it, they don't always point it out. That's true. We have some
Yep.
customers who are over the moon, but a lot of customers just kind of,
Yep.
if it's good, it's good, and they accept it. That's what it is. But that's also positive
Yeah.
feedback. You know, if they keep
Yeah.
coming back,
And
that's positive feedback.
being our own worst critic goes back to what you were saying earlier.
Oh
That's
yeah,
all part of our protection mechanism, right? We're, like you said,
yeah,
we're tuned to look for the bad stuff. That's to be the
totally,
critic. And if we can
totally.
change that a little bit, right? We're always going to look for that stuff. That's just human nature.
No,
But if you
totally. I
can
think it's
change it
great.
from a critic into a coach, right? Somebody to go, yeah, that
It's
was
tough.
not the greatest, but let's do this, this, and this to get better. And I believe in you, right?
Yeah.
That
Well, and hey, and honestly, also surround yourself with people who can help you do that, because
yeah,
sometimes that's another thing that you can fail at. You can fail at being your best your best coach sometimes, and so it's good to
yeah,
have an outside perspective. I
absolutely.
know, like I said, that's the thing I struggle with. I've got a horrific negative internal voice. People might not know that. I'm just being honest. Once again, the half is where I tend to just let loose and tell people stuff. I
Yeah.
guess is my confessional time, I suppose. But yeah, I have a terrifically awful internal voice. And so sometimes I have to stop and I have to get that from outside. It's not that I shouldn't work on that or that I don't, but when I have that time, it's good to have people around like Aaron who help check me on that stuff, and kind of say, hey, what's really happening, man? Like, how does it really look on the outside of your
Yeah.
head?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
always something. It's a
I
good
love it.
thing to get a check. That's a good reason to have mastermind groups too. It's a good reason to be in professional groups, and sometimes to be in groups of people that are just outside of your professional world entirely, so you can just kind of get that rolling.
Yeah. Good.
So
All right.
got a
Well, I'll
lot of
work
good
on a new
stuff.
cover image, Eric. So we've got the half / Eric's
Eric
confessional.
confessional booth. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. So, no, I love it, man. I
Hey,
appreciate you doing that. That's what makes you so awesome and real. So,
no,
um,
I think that's the thing is sometimes you see somebody who's on shows all the time, like Aaron and me or Terry or any of the people
yeah.
who are teaching, and you think like we're not going through the struggles you are, and of course we are.
Yeah. Totally.
Everybody who you see, no matter how
Yeah.
professional they are, no matter
Yeah.
how well they do, goes through the struggles like you do,
Totally. Yeah.
for sure.
All right, Eric, can we go back a little ways?
Yeah,
We
let's do
always
it.
like to make sure we
Where do you
hit
want to go?
just about everybody, right? And get all the comments. So
Let's
a
do
bit
it.
earlier, Edward said, glad your trip was safe.
Oh, yep.
Or
I missed
yeah,
that
that,
one.
that too.
There we
That was
go.
the next one I was going to get to.
All
Um,
right.
so yeah, and then Edward also can play the mandolin, fiddle, and banjo with you.
Yeah,
So
you're doing better than me. I'm so rusty at the dulcimer right now that I think I can probably play the couple of things that I have in by memory and nothing else. I'm very rusty. I had to learn to save my fingers for digitizing. I only have so many times I'm able to use these suckers, and I haven't been playing for a while.
yeah, yeah. All right, going down a little ways. I think we
Yes,
covered it. Cindy did say, I will say, I'm glad we talked about adding heat seal to patches and getting a job done
yes, this is
ASAP.
true.
Right. So finding
Oh yeah,
a new way. Right. It's problem solving. I like it.
efficiencies. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. And then Cindy was, or I'm sorry, Marissa was commiserating with Cindy, not commiserating, but just sharing.
Yeah,
I felt that
support,
way.
man.
Also, never give up. It gets better.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Marissa,
Yeah.
for real.
All right. Let's get. How about Ramona's question here, Eric?
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
She says, Eric, have you ever used a tatami stitch for a solid element in an FSL project? So, just in case people don't know, FSL being
I
freestanding
don't
lace.
know.
Freestanding lace being something that's usually run on some sort of soluble material that is then washed away, heated away, so there's nothing but the thread left. And yes, absolutely, because if you think of thread style patches, uh, the emblems that are done, the Madeira people started a lot of people understanding this stuff, but it's not just them. They have a full backing that is made with a big slab of tatami. So how are we achieving that? A tatami or a fill stitch on FSL? As long as we have a decent enough underlay that's holding it up, a mesh style underlay. Some people do a 3-layer. I often think 2 layers is just fine. Like most FSL, you can do it. I would certainly watch your edges.
Mhm.
Look how the shapes are landing on that grid to see if you're going to have kind of the edges draw in around the grid. You might want to make sure you've got, I would say, some sort of edge underlay or contour underlay to kind of hold those edges together. But yeah, I've definitely used FSL or tatami on FSL. You just want to have something underneath it that is going to keep it solid. And for that, I'm looking for some sort of grid based, tied together at least 2-layer, possibly 3-layer if you need that extra stability underlay that's going to hold that up. So yeah, definitely have used Tatami and FSL. And like I said, think about the fact that those thread-based patches, some of the ones that we've done from Brilliance. In fact, somebody commented on some patches I did this week. The ones that are done with thread only, that's essentially FSL made out of a big slab of tatami stitch, but it's really well stabilized by having that underlay underneath it. If you were having disconnected elements like a traditional lace instead of the grid style lace, I think you would just want to locally do that. Make sure whatever other elements are tied deeply in underneath that lace, and then make sure you've got that underlay. Now, I'm going to say I am not a primary lace guy. I have done some lace work, but there are people out there who do way better lace work than me, who have more practice, who could probably give you more direct tips. But when I've used, like I said, tatami on FSL, it's just all about having really structural, stable underlays and tying it deeply into any other elements around it.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were saying you're not a guy that wears a lot of lace. So I just,
You don't know. You don't know what I do.
No,
I could. I don't know. I could be wearing a lace collar around the house. I don't.
That'd be a good look, man. I like it. All right.
Hey, why not?
All right. Before I get myself in any more trouble here, Mike said Epidemic Sound is a really great resource for royalty-free tunes. In case anybody's looking, that's a great share, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Mike.
will actually go check that out.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. Edward has got a different for fail future attempts in learning. Right.
All right. I think I missed that along the way. I'll try and grab that up. There we go. Yeah. Thank you, Edward. Future or further attempts in learning. Yeah.
Further.
Absolutely.
Yep. Even better. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keep on rolling. That's how it goes.
Love my little skull from Brilliance.
I'll bring that up while you guys were talking about other stuff. I had a freebie this week that I did for Brilliance. I'm actually going to talk about it on my show too, because we were talking about spooky stitches and stuff. So I just decided I was going to talk about skulls on my show today, because I've done, for some reason, both. I like drawing skulls myself. I think they're a really cool structural shape that I like to draw when I'm drawing. I don't know why. I just have drawn a ton of them, skulls and skeletons. The thing is, for some reason in my career, I have been hired to make more skulls than like anything else. I don't know why, but there's a ton of stuff I've been hired to digitize, but for some reason, a ton of skulls are just in my catalog, so I'm going to talk about them. But this little freebie, and I'll go ahead and share this on screen if I can real quick.
Okay.
This is a freebie that I just did for Brilliance. It was these free, fun, Scully patches. These are these patches.
Cool.
And so these are currently available if you go to Brilliance.com. I can put up the link, but if you go to Brilliance.com, it's right there on the project page. But in this piece, I was just messing around and want to do some stuff that's kind of kid-friendly and cute skulls. So I did them kind of emoji style with some expressive eyes and different shapes. And cool. I literally just laid down a piece of notebook paper and a brush pen and just started sketching, looking at some skulls, which was funny to explain to my wife why I had a page of skull pictures up on my laptop and I had a brush pen in my hand. But I just started sketching some goofy skulls, and then I made a set of skull designs and edges. And by the way, Lisa Shaw, who said good morning here, she actually did me a wonderful solid here, and she did a bunch of running, and she improved them greatly. By running, we have this one that's run with glow-in-the-dark thread, which is awesome. But these are primarily as thread-based patches. You can make them into cut fabric patches if you want with the files. They're interactive files that you can download with the free Brilliance platform, the Express mode. But the other thing she did that was cool is she made this super sparkly. You can check out the video on screen now if it's working.
Oh, wow. Yep.
That is a light fill over Mylar on the patch. So there's a Mylar layer inside and a light fill over it, and so she made a sparkly skull patch too. If you want to go grab those, guys, get to Brilliance.com and you can get those for free, and they'll be there forever. But I'll talk about them later in the show as well. I'll give you guys the link too. But yeah, that's something I made for fun, and it was just something that I thought was fun to do, and people have been enjoying them. But that's another like FSL thing, right? It's thread-based patches. It's a lot of stitches, but if you're someone who has more time than you have hands to work on stuff, then it's pretty easy to make them. So the home and craft market will do thread-based patches than the commercial market.
Yeah. So excellent. All right, let's move on. Keep going here, Eric. We got a little bit of time left. Mark White says, I think this is
more dad jokes.
Yeah, but the Royal Mail Post Office is being renamed Charles III Post Office, or C3PO for short, right?
Appropriate.
All right. Let's Smoky Vision Crafts. That's Edward. He says, how do you handle putting enough money aside to replace equipment that breaks down? Some of the items are very expensive and I'm still in debt. So first and foremost, stop buying new equipment. Use what you got, right, and make money off of what you got. And then, if something breaks down, right, then hopefully before it breaks down, you've built up enough. Right? That's what I see a lot of people doing, Eric, is I get it, right? I'm at a trade show right now. I'm going to go back to the show floor. You come, you see these people. They're nice people. They got cool stuff. Wow, all the things I could do with this. If you don't have a market for it, don't buy it, right? You can outsource stuff until you build up a market for it. So that's first and foremost. You don't have to worry about putting aside money to replace equipment that breaks down if you get value out of the equipment that you already have. So starting there. And then secondly, you've got to build that stuff into your prices. We talked a little bit about that on Two Regular Guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's the future, right? So, a computer these days, what, 3, 4, maybe you can stretch it out 5 years. And at that point, it's kind of, you're better off just going back and getting an abacus and a stone tablet. It's some of the technology that I've got that I still try to make work, right? So, it's that same kind of theory, is that we've got to be thinking, okay, I got to think ahead 2, 3 years, 5 years down the road and go, okay, what am I going to need, right? I'm going to need to make sure that, yes, if equipment breaks down, I'm covered there. So when it's time to upgrade, that kind of stuff. So those would be my 2 things, Eric. What's your take?
Well, I'll say this much, that people do set aside percentages specifically for repairs. And when they also, some people will go as far as to say, almost like Aaron did, calculate their amortization and say, all right, over the, this is how much I have to get dealt with over the period of this period of time so I can replace or do repairs. People have different feelings about percentages. I've heard very high percentages for some people for repairs and upkeep, where sometimes they'll be at like 10% of their total gross will be all for upkeep and all for just for the repair portion of it, just for the kind of repair and maintenance. It depends on who you are and how you feel about those percentages. I think some people leave a lot on the table, but absolutely, you have to have some sort of percentage kept back for that stuff, because it will happen. I think the biggest problem people have is assuming that they're never going to do repairs. If you assume you're never going to have a tech out, believe me, it's as if the tech was just waiting for you to say it out loud. You will have a problem. The machines hear you when you say you're never going to have a tech out to fix things.
Yeah.
So if you buy a commercial machine, know that a tech is in your future and start immediately. That when you go to buy your initial machine, the thought of its upkeep, that's part of the cost of operations, and it should be part of your initial calculation for whether you bought it at all.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. It's not easy, but it is the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we talked Cindy off the ledge, but we really didn't need to, it looks like.
Yeah, she said, I'm feeling insulted by designers thinking it's operator error, not that I can't make a mistake. On the other hand, I said some fantastic patches. Yeah, there are digitizers who will blame everything on the operator. I don't love that. I think, honestly, if a digitizer can't work with you to figure it out, even if it was an operator error, the best digitizers are going to work with you to figure out what's going wrong. Yeah. So that's sometimes a digitizer problem. Now, there can be times where operators are stretching the abilities of stuff. I don't think that's you. You got experience. But there are sometimes decorators who are pushing stuff. Yeah. Lisa says, I need an FSL dad cap. If you mean an entire dad cap made out of freestanding lays, we got to talk. That might be fun, but it might be a lot of work. If you just mean putting FSL on a dad cap, that's hilarious. I'm here to make your monogram for that. That's awesome.
All right. I want to see that. I want to see that being worn by you, Eric. Yep. So.
And then, one more good question. I think we can get in real fast. The Smoky Vision again says, one concern on outsourcing I have are the designs I send them mine, only mine, or do they get the right to sell them to other people? Absolutely, they do not get the right to sell them to other people. They belong to who has the initial copyright. And if you're the person sending those on, that is you. What I would do, though, is get it in writing. If you're concerned about it, make sure that you sign a document to that effect. Honestly, you don't need to. You have the right to the designs. Correct. They are not theirs to sell if they're doing it incorrectly. That's the problem you have with them. The thing is, most of us are not necessarily going to get into a legal battle over every design we have on that scale and don't want to. So the best thing you can do is to set expectations and discuss that with them ahead of time and make it clear that you are not okay with that concept. If you send a design to somebody for outsourcing, that is still your design and they have no rights to it.
Yeah. So Edward, you're an our success group member. So go into the membership dashboard there and search for copyright. We actually have a whole training on that with Jimmy Lamb, and that specific thing is discussed in detail in there too. Nice. But Eric just summarized it perfectly. There's that is your artwork, and they can't be reselling it. You have rights to it. So
I know. Let me tell you how many times copyright has come with me, and you know what I always say about copyright.
You got
Copyright
me.
that.
I was like, what is it? Where does he? And then I'm like, looked. Oh, now I got it.
However, go search Gordon Firemark on the Two Really Guys page. We got 2 awesome episodes about copyright.
Yep,
Last
there
plug.
you go. Thank you,
See you guys
everybody.
next week.